My name is Rafael, you're watching Rock and Roll Garage, and today I'm going to tell you which is Steve Hackett's favorite Genesis song. But first, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave your comment. Well, I had the chance to interview Steve back in 2020, but at the time I was not doing videos, so it was a written interview. I wrote an article about this on rockandrollgarage.com that you can go to description and visit and read if you want to, and see all the details. And one of the questions I've made was, which was his favorite Genesis song? And as you probably know, if you're a Genesis fan, Steve was part of the band from 1971 until 1977. So he was part of that first classic formation of the band, which recorded albums like Nursery Crime, Foxtrot, Selling England by the Pound, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, and later on A Trick of the Tail and Wind and Wuthering, for example. And he was even part of the band because before they became a trio, because Gabriel left in 1975, and he was with the band until 1977. So after Peter left, there were Phil Collins, Mike Rutherford, Tony Banks, and Steve Hackett. And he left the group later, and they curiously released an album called And Then There Were Three. But anyway, let's get to the point. I asked him which was his favorite Genesis song, and this is what he told me. Dancing with the moonlit night, I love the way it goes seamlessly through so many changes, morphing from Scottish plain song through to powerful rock elements. It builds and takes many twists and turns, strung both melodically and rhythmically. And it is a song that Steve plays a lot on his solo shows. It's a beautiful song from that album that was released in 1973, Selling England by the Pound. It was a track from that album. And at the time, the band had that classic formation that I just mentioned. Phil Collins on drums, Tony Banks on keyboards, Mike Rutherford on bass, and after Steve left the band, Mike became the guitarist, Steve Hackett on guitar, and Peter Gabriel's on vocals. And an interesting thing about this track is that originally it was supposed to be titled Disney, so it almost was titled Disney, and it certainly is one of the coolest Genesis songs from that era, the more progressive era of Genesis, because it's quite interesting because there are two Genesis eras that the fans fight about it, because I mean they were one of the few bands that were able to be famous, even become more famous when the original vocalist was replaced, and that was already successful. Obviously, I mean the progressive era with Peter Gabriel was really successful and really influential as well. And then after Phil Collins became the vocalist, and there were only three, Tony Banks, and Mike Rutherford alongside Phil, obviously their sound became a little bit more commercial, something more accessible to the masses, let's say, because not everybody likes progressive rock, but they did pop music, progressive kind of pop music, I would say. And obviously they had really progressive tracks, but their biggest hits with Phil Collins certainly were pop songs, but with that progressive rock touch. And it was a unique kind of music they did, and obviously they influenced many progressive rock songs to try that out, like Yes, for example. Yes did the same thing afterwards with their biggest hits came from their era, like Owner of a Lonely Heart, for example, and that's quite interesting. And if you are a big fan of Steve, I want to remind you that I already did a video about his 5 favorite albums of all time. And if you want to watch it, you can go below the video. You're gonna find that video there. And I listed which are his 5 favorite albums of all time, and also his 5 favorite songs of all time. And that's it. If you want to read more, go to the description, read the article we wrote about this, subscribe to the channel, like the video, help us out, and let's talk about it. Okay, tell me if you like this song as well or not. So thank you for watching, and I see you later.